been a voice teacher for a really long time. I'm new at reacting to things online, and I'm so grateful for the engagement and response from the community because I uploaded the wrong version of SOS and reacted to it, and some of my early followers caught that and said, hey, you better look out because the fans of Dimash, which I believe you all are called Deers, is that what you call yourself? I heard that that's what Dimash calls you. Said they're not going to be a fan of you reacting to that version because it was like a truncated version from a show that I guess you all aren't fans of. This will be my first listen to this version. Admittedly, I have heard a truncated version of the song before, and I was blown away by it. So that you all are recommending this one, I'm really excited to see and to compare the differences between the two. I also kind of have a unique perspective on this one because I've been a professional singer in many different styles of singing. So I'm going to jump right in. What I'm going to do is listen all the way through and react all the way through. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to meticulously break down what I hear him doing in his singing. All right, here we go, jumping right in.
Pourquoi je ris, pourquoi je pleure. Voici le SOS d'un terrien en détresse. J'ai mûri pierre sur toi. Je te jure qu'au fond d'une vie, avec les condescendés, je crois dans un vie, tu es à ma force, je sens quelque chose qui m'attire, voler. Pourquoi je vise, pourquoi je meurs, pourquoi je ris, pourquoi je pleure. J'y crois comme près des autres, vérité notre monde.
Bravo. Wow. Wow. Okay. So that's why you wanted me to listen to that version. Okay. Yes, much better. Much better. That was more of a full statement of the song. That was exciting to hear. Woo! Okay. So yeah, there are some differences in his tone quality here. That was exciting. There was a little more raw performing energy in that singing for sure. Wow, there's like 5 vocalists inside of this one vocalist. That's what it sounds like to me. What an absolute vocal shapeshifter. All right, I got to break down some of these high notes. I need to break down some of these tone qualities that he has and just explain exactly what's going on in his sound to make him sound the way that he's sounding. Okay, he's got a slightly open vocal fold tone, which is giving it that breathiness to the tone. He also has some compression on his voice, which activates a little bit of the false vocal folds. It creates a little bit of lateral squeeze on the sound. Listen for that. Hear the airflow? Lots of vibrato too. Wow. All right, there's like 3 things to say about what just happened there, at least. Number 1, amazing low notes for someone with this high of a voice, with that much access to his upper register. It's not common to have that much bass in your voice when you can sing that high. Second thing, notice how he was airflowing. He kept this husky warmth, this introspective tone that pulls us in all the way up to the top note. Then he got brighter as he switched into that note. But notice he didn't go full power yet. He's just giving us a little foreshadowing, a little taste of what's to come. So that's one type of sound. Then he switched gears on that sustained high note, and then we go into the bell like that sound right there, which is very much a thing that coloratura sopranos do in opera. They do little short staccato bell-like tones. You get those bell-like tones by creating internal space in your mouth, making sure that you're not overly opened in the way that your lips are formed, and you can really focus and get ringiness in your voice. That's how he's doing that. He's doing all of this changing all in one phrase. It's like he's got one sound down here, switching gears into the held note, then switching gears into the bell-like tones. Then on the exit of the phrase, he's coming back to that breathy, windy tone. Listen for all of that going on. Air. Ringing. Now we ring. Here. There it is. Did you hear all of that? The air going up, the switch into the brassy tone, and then the bell-like tones above it. Then we're into the airflow on the way out with lots of vibrato the whole way. Really well done. And emotional too. Wow. Same thing. And this song is so beautiful and emotive, and he is an amazing artist at tethering his vocal technique to emotional expression. That's what makes great singing. It's not having a 7, 8, 9 octave range. Those things are impressive, but that's more in the athleticism of voice. What makes great singing is your ability to connect to the expression and have other people feel something from your performance. Even though he is one of these singers that has all of this athleticism in his voice, he still is connected to the text. He's still meaning the words, and that's what I admire the most about his singing. What? Did you hear that? That bottom note was one of the most poppy notes he sang, and then he switched into a countertenor note. So what's a countertenor? Countertenor is a male singer in opera, usually a tenor-like voice like his, who's developed his falsetto in such a way that he's able to emulate the way that female singers sing in opera. This hollow, open, ringy, with vibrato type of a sound. He just completely switched gears into that sound. There aren't pop singers that can do that unless they've had classical training. And what's interesting is usually once you have classical training, it's hard to go back to sing like a pop singer. He's figured out how to marry these two worlds together. The biggest thing you have to learn how to do to be able to sing a high note like that is you have to learn how to get into what I call neutral larynx position. Neutral larynx position is that it's that open throat sound that you hear opera singers use. He's able to do that, but he's also able to turn it off and go into what I call movable larynx position, where your larynx is changing elevation at high notes and low notes. That's the way pop singers sing. So he's going back and forth between this open throat operatic sound and this movable larynx sound that you hear pop singers sing. Now we're in a different tone here. Now we're in like a brassy pop sound, but with a lot of vibrato and not so much compression. Hear the brass? Listen to the start of that phrase. He went, he did a little bit of the false vocal fold grit sound. He's not a gritty singer at all, but he's using little hints of it in his singing. That little grit sound adds angst. If you listen to any of the artists that I've reacted to lately, like Chapel Roan, she uses a lot of grit in her singing, as well as many, many other artists do. Ren is one that I've reacted to a lot. He uses a lot of false vocal fold activation in his singing. Dimash doesn't use it as much, but this is a moment where he did. Right there. So far, this doesn't sound auto-tuned to me. I was reading about people criticizing that they think he auto-tuned his voice, and I'm not hearing the auto-tune in his voice here. This feels live and it feels real. Just feels like he has great pitch accuracy. I know that the whole auto-tune thing is a controversial topic, and I don't want to get too deep into it. It overall sounds pretty natural to me, just really accurate. But if you've got some info on it, you want to share with me your thoughts on it. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too far with that, but it doesn't sound auto-tuned, at least up to this point for me. That is an insane sound. That is an incredibly hard sound to make. So he's got this, you know, the brassy pop thing I was talking about, but with vibrato, lots of angst, so emotional in his singing. And then he pops up to that high note, way, way up there into his upper register. The larynx elevates a little bit, which is what needs to happen in those way upper register notes, which makes a smaller acoustic chamber for the sound, which makes it easier to resonate that up there. Notice how he keeps it a straight tone sound and then brings vibrato in later. That's not something that an opera singer would do. That's more of a pop effect. But singing up in that range, usually pop singers and rock singers, when they sing that high, like Steven Tyler or the lead singer for Greta Van Fleet or Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin, they'll go up there, but they go up there, they do like this little squeezy, edgy sound on it as well. He's not putting the squeeze and the edge on that high note. He's letting it ring in some hybrid world between opera and pop. So cool. Hear that? Now we had this one little low. I forget what the word. What's he saying there? Au grand lotu. Au grand lotu. He switched down into a really deep tone. The first time he did the da 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 da, he kept it light. This time he put more thickening, more chord closure, more depth and brass in the tone down there. Listen for that tone quality. He didn't make that tone quality earlier. Wow. Right there. And that was just one moment. Then he's out of it. You know, I'm kind of curious to hear a little bit more of that bass and that beef in his voice that he had down there. How much can he sing like that? Wow, that was cool. All right, let's keep going. Notice that tone quality there. Now he's going up into his upper register a little more the way that a soprano opera singer would go up there. Ooh, he's got this covered tone, which is not like the last big high note that he just sang a second ago. I love the drama. That's so dramatic. This is like, you know, this is very theatrical singing here. Wow. Definitely not auto-tuned. I'm not hearing that here at all. So I know a lot about auto-tune. I've auto-tuned stuff. I understand how it works. I've used Melodyne. I've used Flex Pitch and Logic. I get it. I'm not hearing it here. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds natural. The way he pulled away from the mic there was very natural. This is real sound here. So did you hear all of that openness? He switches in his high notes between like pop-like high notes and classical operatic-like high notes. I bet he's a beautiful countertenor. I wonder if he's actually ever sang any legit, real, classical, pure operatic countertenor stuff. And I also wonder if he's ever sung any actual pop stuff, too, with grit on his voice. These are things I'm really curious about. I've got so many rabbit holes I'm going down right now as a reactor. I hope I have time to go down the Dimash Kudaibergen rabbit hole more. I think I'm going to. I don't know how I can't. Emotional. Power. So remember I was talking to you about he's quiet, he's introspective, he's pulling us in, and then he's going to push us back on our chair. He just did that right there. Did you hear that? This is some foreshadowing of what's to come. Very, very good. He's such a dynamic, in-control singer. That moment sounded like an opera singer there. He had openness in his throat. He had a lot of vocal fold closure. He had a thickening of tone. He had a consistency to his vibrato. That would be what his operatic voice would sound like a little bit there, at least in that register. Hear that? Oh. Now we're back in that tone. Okay, I've got to say something about that. He's doing that same melodic passage, da, 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 that whole thing, but this time he's doing it with clean vocal fold closure, Much higher subglottic air pressure, moving right through the registers in more of a thickened way. And then instead of going into that bell-like Queen of the Night from the opera Magic Flute type of a sound, he's going up into it with brass and bite. Still not exactly the way an opera singer would do it up there. There's still a little bit higher of a larynx tone and a little bit more of a lateral mouth tone than you might hear like a Jussi Björling or an Alfredo Kraus. Those are some old school opera singers, the way they would do it. Now, there's a little bit more pop in the way he's doing that high note there. The only thing that's different between that sound and like a Steven Tyler high note is he doesn't have any of that grit on his voice up there, like maybe Robert Plant would as well. Let's go back and listen for how he changed into that thickened vocal fold closure sound and then went up into that not quite open throated sound on the high note. I wish I could just plug my head in and have you read my thoughts, because I had so many thoughts go through my head on that part. So, ba-da-da-da-da, he's going up. He's got thickened voice. He's got brass voice. Then he gets up to that high note. Notice there's a very distinctive tone quality change when he goes up and holds those high notes. The voice gets thinner in its brassiness. That's something as an opera singer we don't want to do. As an opera singer, we want the registration to be smooth. We don't want to hear all of a sudden when you jump into a register that you dramatically change the opening of your throat. But guess what? He's not singing opera right here, so it doesn't matter. He's singing a hybrid stylistic song here. So does that sound work? Does that sound work for you as followers of him, I wonder? Leave a comment and let me know. It works for me. It makes sense. He's staged this song already to have a little bit of grit singing for pop. We've got breathy husky tones. We've got bell-like open countertenor soprano and opera-like tones. We've got lots of vibrato. We've got big singing with pressure and subglottic air pressure. And then we've got these high notes that get thinner and cut and brass. And then right at the end of that high brassy note, what did he do? He flipped, he goes back up into that high, not brassy, but more flute-like soprano tone up on the top. What a vocal shapeshifter. And he's emoting and emotional the whole way. It's not like he's just showing off his voice for us. He's connecting to the text. What an incredible artist. Let's go back and listen for all that stuff happening. Here we go. Brass. Good. Right there. That's that tone quality change I was talking about. It got thinner right there. That was exciting. So when he did woo, that was where he switched up into that soprano falsetto part. Did you hear that? Then we're back into the tone that we started the song with. What an amazing vocal. He's an amazing singer, and I'm so glad that I found this version and that you all told me I needed to check out this version as opposed to the other one. This is a better vocal. It feels more real. It feels more natural. I'm so impressed by him. I can't wait to hear more of his things. I'm wondering what my next song that I should do of his is. please leave it in the comments. I'm excited to see what you guys will recommend. And thanks for stopping by. If you like this reaction, subscribe, click the little notification to stay up to date. This has been a fun one. And also, don't forget to check out the community page. That's where I do a lot of the polling for what songs I'm going to do next. So feel free to leave a comment here, but I also do a lot of stuff over there too, okay? Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.